Have you ever wondered about the intricate dynamics of the geopolitical landscape involving Iran, Israel, and the USA? The web of relationships between these nations is a fascinating study of historical grievances, religious ideological conflicts, and strategic competitions. These interactions don't merely shape their bilateral and trilateral relations, they also have far-reaching implications for global peace and stability. Let's set the stage with a brief overview. Iran, Israel, and the USA, three nations, each with its unique historical context and geopolitical aspirations. Their relations have been marked by periods of cooperation, conflict, and tense standoffs. The geopolitical landscape they inhabit is a complex tapestry woven with threads of history, ideology, and power politics. Historically, Iran and Israel had shared interests, particularly against common Arab adversaries. But the Islamic Revolution of 1979 in Iran dramatically shifted this relationship, with Iran declaring Israel an enemy of Islam. This marked the beginning of decades of tension, with Iran supporting anti-Israel groups to undermine Israeli security and political stability. Meanwhile, the relationship between Iran and the USA has been on a roller coaster ride of hostility since the 1979 Iranian Revolution. The overthrow of the Shah, an American ally, was a turning point. The subsequent US embassy hostage crisis further strained relations, leading to a prolonged period of economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and occasional military confrontations. On the other hand, the USA and Israel have enjoyed one of the most consistent alliances since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. Driven by shared strategic interests, cultural ties, and strong political support within the United States, this alliance has stood the test of time. But the story doesn't end here. The currents of these relationships are constantly shifting, shaped by the ebbs and flows of the broader geopolitical landscape. To understand the current scenario, we need to take a deep dive into the historical background of these relations. Rewinding the clock, Iran-Israel relations have seen a dramatic shift since the Islamic Revolution of 1979. Before the Islamic Revolution, Iran and Israel shared a period of cooperation, united by mutual interests and strategic alignments. At this time, they found common ground in opposing their shared Arab adversaries. Yet, this harmonious period was to be short-lived. As the 1970s drew to a close, the Islamic Revolution swept across Iran, drastically changing the country's political landscape. This marked the end of Iran's pro-Western monarchy and the birth of a theocratic Islamic republic. As the new regime took hold, Iran's stance towards Israel underwent a dramatic shift. The new Iranian regime declared Israel an enemy of Islam, a stance that has since underpinned decades of tension between the two nations. This ideological shift wasn't merely symbolic, it had tangible, hard-hitting repercussions. A prominent manifestation of this shift is Iran's support for anti-Israel groups. In the following years, Iran began to back groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. These organizations, armed and funded by Iran, have frequently targeted Israeli security and political stability. This support is more than just financial. It's a strategic move aimed at undermining Israel's position in the region. This support for anti-Israel organizations is not just about regional power dynamics. It's also a reflection of Iran's ideological stance. The Iranian regime views these groups as key allies in their struggle against what they perceive as Israeli aggression and occupation. The transition from cooperation to open hostility has been stark. The once united front against common adversaries has been replaced by a deep-seated animosity, fueled by ideological differences and strategic competition. This shift, triggered by the Islamic Revolution, has played a significant role in shaping the current landscape of conflict. This ideological shift post-revolution has played a significant role in shaping the current conflicts. Iran's relationship with the USA has been on a tumultuous ride since the 1979 Iranian Revolution. The revolution was a seismic event that saw the overthrow of the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, an American ally. It marked a dramatic shift in Iran's political landscape, replacing a pro-Western monarchy with an Islamic republic. In the aftermath of the revolution, the US embassy in Tehran became the epicenter of a crisis that would further strain the already tense relations between the two nations. 52 American diplomats and citizens were held hostage for 444 days. an event that reverberated around the world and left a lasting scar on the bilateral relationship. As the years passed, the relationship between Iran and the USA took on a new dimension, characterized by economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation. The American government imposed a series of sanctions on Iran aimed at curtailing its nuclear ambitions. These measures had significant impacts on Iran's economy, leading to widespread societal hardship. In 2015, a brief thaw in relations seemed possible with the signing of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the JCPOA. This agreement, endorsed by several global powers, was designed to limit Iran's nuclear capabilities in exchange for the lifting of economic sanctions. However, this détente was short-lived. In 2018, the USA controversially withdrew from the JCPOA, reinstating harsh sanctions and further escalating tensions. This move was seen by many as a significant setback, not only for Iran-USA relations, but also for international diplomatic efforts to ensure regional stability. Since then, the relationship between Iran and the USA has been marked by a troubling pattern of confrontation and withdrawal. This constant state of flux has left Iran and the USA in a cycle of escalating tensions. From the hostage crisis of the late 20th century to the economic sanctions of the 21st, the roller coaster of hostility continues to shape the geopolitical landscape. In contrast, the USA-Israel relationship has been one of the most consistent alliances in modern history. Since Israel's establishment in 1948, the bond between these two nations has been forged through a combination of shared strategic interests, cultural ties, and robust political support. Their shared strategic interests have centered around maintaining stability in the Middle East, a region fraught with conflict and volatility. Whether it's countering the influence of common adversaries or combating terrorism, the United States and Israel have consistently found themselves on the same side of these critical issues. Cultural ties have also played a significant role in cementing this relationship. The United States is home to the largest Jewish community outside of Israel, and the mutual respect and understanding between these two societies have fostered a deep sense of kinship. This bond has been further reinforced by the American public's strong support for Israel, a sentiment that cuts across political and social divides. The political support for Israel within the United States is another cornerstone of this enduring alliance. From Capitol Hill to the White House, unwavering support for Israel has been a consistent theme, irrespective of the party in power. This bipartisan backing has translated into significant military and financial aid, ensuring Israel's security and stability amidst its hostile neighborhood. But this alliance is not just about what America can offer Israel. Israel, in return, provides the United States with valuable intelligence, technological innovation, and a reliable partner in a region where allies are few and far between. This staunch alliance has been a key player in shaping the Middle East's geopolitical landscape. With a history spanning over 7 decades, the USA-Israel relationship stands as a testament to the power of shared values and strategic interests in forging lasting alliances. Yet, as we move forward, it will be intriguing to see how this relationship evolves in response to the shifting sands of global geopolitics. Fast forward to the present, the region is a cauldron of tensions and conflicts. Diving into the heart of the matter, the Middle East is currently embroiled in a series of intricate conflicts, with Iran, Israel, and the USA as key players. The primary areas of conflict revolve around Iran's nuclear ambitions, its support for anti-Israel groups, and the dispute over the future of Palestine. Iran's nuclear program has been a focal point of tension, particularly between Iran and the USA. Accusations of Iran developing nuclear weapons under the guise of a civilian program have led to a series of American-imposed sanctions. These sanctions have crippled Iran's economy, exacerbating domestic discontent and further straining relations. Adding fuel to the fire, Iran's support for militant groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza has been a major source of conflict with Israel. These groups, viewed by Israel as a direct threat, have been at the forefront of numerous clashes. Israel's response, often in the form of airstrikes, further escalates the cycle of violence and retaliation. Moreover, the question of Palestine remains a contentious issue, causing rifts not only between Israel and Palestine, but also drawing in the USA and Iran. The USA's unwavering support for Israel and its policies, contrasted with Iran's backing of the Palestinian cause, creates another layer of conflict. But the tension isn't limited to direct confrontations. A significant aspect of the regional conflict is the role of proxy wars. Iran and Saudi Arabia, backed respectively by Russia and the USA, wage their battles in countries like Yemen and Syria, exacerbating the region's instability. These ongoing conflicts, whether they are over nuclear ambitions, territorial disputes, or ideological differences, have led to a precarious balance of power in the region, where a single misstep could potentially trigger a larger, more destructive conflict. The Middle East, once a cradle of civilizations, now stands as a chessboard of geopolitical maneuvering. These ongoing conflicts have led to a precarious balance of power in the region. Despite the conflicts, diplomatic efforts persist, and the future remains uncertain. Recent diplomatic maneuvers by Iran, Israel, and the USA have been as complex and multifaceted as their historical relationships. Iran's outreach to the West through the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal, marked a significant shift in its foreign policy. However, the USA's withdrawal from the agreement in 2018 and subsequent reinstatement of sanctions have led to increased tensions and uncertainty. At the same time, Israel and the USA have continued to strengthen their alliance. The Abraham Accords, signed in 2020, marked a significant realignment in the Middle East, establishing diplomatic relations between Israel and several Arab states, a move both supported and mediated by the USA. Other global powers, such as Russia and China, have also played crucial roles in this geopolitical dance. Russia's involvement in the Syrian civil war and its ties with Iran have added another layer of complexity. Meanwhile, China's economic interests in the region, particularly its oil imports from Iran, have influenced its diplomatic stance. Looking to the future, potential developments in these relationships remain uncertain. The new US administration has expressed interest in rejoining the Iran nuclear deal, which could lead to a thaw in Iran-USA relations. However, Iran's presidential elections and its increasing uranium enrichment activities add uncertainty to this prospect. On the other hand, Iran-Israel relations are likely to remain tense, with issues like Iran's nuclear ambitions and support for anti-Israel groups continuing to be key points of contention. Yet, the changing regional dynamics, particularly the Arab-Israeli rapprochement, might open new avenues for dialogue and de-escalation. The future of these relations will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications for regional and global stability. The geopolitical web involving Iran, Israel, and the USA is complex and continues to evolve. This intricate dance of power, interests, and ideologies has been woven over decades, creating a tapestry that is as fascinating as it is volatile. The historical narratives of these nations are intertwined with the present, with echoes of the past reverberating in the current tensions and hostilities. In this delicate interplay, the relationship between Iran and Israel transformed from a cooperative alignment to a hostile standoff, largely due to ideological shifts and strategic competitions. The Iran-USA relationship, too, has been a roller coaster of hostility, marked by economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and intense confrontations. Yet amidst these tumultuous relationships, the USA-Israel bond has remained a consistent alliance, driven by shared strategic interests, cultural ties, and robust political support. The present-day conflicts and tensions are a manifestation of these historical narratives, further complicated by the involvement of other global powers and the role of proxy wars. The sanctions imposed on Iran by the USA have significant impacts, not just on Iran's economy, but also on the wider geopolitical dynamics of the region. In this complicated web, diplomatic maneuvers have become a critical tool for managing and, hopefully, resolving these tensions. Recent diplomatic efforts by all three nations and key international agreements have shaped the geopolitical landscape, for better or worse. The role of diplomacy in future relations cannot be overstated. As we peer into the potential future scenarios, the developments in Iran-Israel relations and Iran-USA relations are of particular interest. These relationships could dictate the course of regional stability or instability, with far-reaching implications for global peace. As we look to the future, the prospects for peace and stability remain a crucial question mark in this geopolitical puzzle. This complex web will continue to evolve, shaped by the actions, reactions, and interactions of these three nations. The hope is that through understanding, dialogue, and diplomacy, a path to peace and stability can be found. What are your thoughts on this subject? Do we have a chance to sort out this tension? Like and subscribe to be a part of this conversation, and let us hear your thoughts. Thank you, and let's pray for understanding and peace.